Looking to take your financial knowledge to the next level? You're in the right place. Welcome to Ask Ralph, offering accounting, technical, and financial advice. Whether you're looking to save taxes or improve your business, he's got you covered. Here's your host of Ask Ralph, Ralph Eastup Jr.
Hello and welcome back to the Ask Ralph Show. We're going to take a little bit of a departure today. I ran across an article from Fox News, and it's titled, How Much the Average American spends per day. I thought this was really an interesting article. So let's start off with some basics here. And what they say in this article is the average person spends about $164.55 per day. Now, right off the jump, that might seem like, wow, that's a lot of money to spend every day. Well, let's talk about where that goes. So that includes $5.39 for gasoline, $9.35 on health insurance, $11.95 on groceries, and $9.22 on dining out. Now, this is all according to the Go Banking Rates study. So what do we learn from this? Well, the biggest expenses across all age groups were housing, groceries, utilities, and health insurance. So let's talk about how you compare to others. And the Go Banking Rates analyzed 2017 expenditure data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics across 15 categories to determine how much the average American across age groups spends per day. So here's what they found. And I found this really interesting. So let's talk about first Generation Z. And I didn't know what that meant when I first read this, but that's individuals who are under age 25. Now, the average daily expenses for individuals under the age of 25 is about $92.13. So that's about 30% less than the overall, which kind of makes sense if you think about it, because they don't have the financial ability at under age 25 than these other people have. And it's not surprising that they spent the least across most of the major categories. Their biggest expense, though, was housing at $20.69, followed by groceries at $6.57 and dining out at $6.47. Now let's talk about our millennials. Let's talk about who we're defining as a millennial, and that's ages 25 to 34 according to this article. Now this was fascinating to me. So millennials spent an average of $208.77 per day, which represents the highest in all the wage groups. So we talked about the average was 164, Generation Z was 92, and now we're to millennials at 208.77. The highest expense once again, housing, $34.78. Like their younger counterparts, groceries and dining out were the next highest expenses. Groceries at $10.89 and $9.36 for dining out. They also spent $7.24 on entertainment and $5.59 on clothing and apparel. So that's our millennials. Now let's talk about younger Generation X. Again, we're defining that as people ages 35 to 44. Now the average daily spending among these people was $189.13. So down about $20 from that of the millennials, but a bit above the average that we looked across the board by about $20. Now what's interesting is this particular group, they spent the highest of any group on groceries at $14.05 and dining out at $11.64. People in this age group spent an average of $39.16 on housing and $10.36 on entertainment. So these were the group that spent the most on groceries and dining out. And of course, their housing costs were a bit more as well compared to millennials. Now let's talk about the older Generation Xers, which I guess I find myself in that group now, age 45 to 54. They spent more per day than their younger counterparts, so the younger Generation Xers, average of $202.48. So like I said, the young Generation Xers were at $189, the older Generation X $202.48. It's the second highest among any age group. We talked about millennials being the highest. Millennials were at, according to this article, let me find it here. Millennials were at, Ralph, you got to find it, 208.77. So just underneath of them at 202.48 is the older Generation Xers. These individuals spent the most in 8 overall categories, including education, gasoline, alcohol, entertainment, and pets. First time we mentioned pets in the article. Let's talk about the younger baby boomers. Now, what are we defining that as? That's age 55 to 64. The average daily spending for Americans between the ages of 55 and 64 is $178.01. They also rank among the top 3 for non-essential expenses like pets. And now we start to talk about charitable giving. So charitable donations accounted for an average of $6.46, while groceries cost about $12.78 for this group. Let's talk about the final group they mention here, and that's older baby boomers. These are ages 65 and older. So I guess if you're 90, you're in this group. Or if you're 65, you're in this group. Now, their average daily spending was more than $40 less than the younger members of their demographics at $135.73. And I think this is just a function of them being in retirement. Their house is probably paid off. But this is the interesting part. And this doesn't shock me. Health insurance expenses among this demographic were higher than any other, averaging about $12.91 per day. Well, that just goes to reason, doesn't it? And I see this in my practice all the time. People who are older are generally spending more on healthcare because they're generally having more health ailments. I don't know, when I hit 40, I felt like, everything was falling apart. Then I hit 45 and more stuff fell apart. But now that I'm getting a little older, I actually feel like things are starting to come back in to where they should be. They also mention here that older baby boomers spent the least of any age group on gas, education, clothing, and cell phone service. And at the same time, their housing costs are relatively low as well at $25.40. Now, all this seems to make sense to me when you think about, age groups and how much money they have and that sort of thing. But I just wonder, where do you fit in? If the average American's spending $164.55 per day, where are you at? And then compare yourself to those same, groups like the Generation Z that are spending, $92.13 a day. And again, that doesn't come as a shock to me because these are people who are just getting started. Under age 25, you're not going to have a lot of money to spend. And housing is going to be probably their largest one because they generally are renting. Then we get up to millennials who are the highest spenders. So you wonder why advertisers are targeting that group. Well, guess what? They've got the most money to spend. Doesn't come as a shock that those are the people that if we're in business that we're trying to attract. And like I said before, their largest expense is housing at $34.78, and then groceries and dining out. So when you hear about restaurants targeting those millennials, it shouldn't come as a big shock to you. Then we get into the Generation Xers, and then finally the Boomers. So I thought this was really eye-opening, so I want to give credit to this article. It was on the Fox News website, so good reading, and let me know how you stack up. You can hit us up at AskRalph.com.
You've been listening to Ask Ralph, brought to you by Saggio Accounting Plus. Please subscribe to and rate our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a rating and review. Our podcast is produced by Carolyn Peters. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at Ask Ralph Media. You can also hear me each week on 1450 WILM and on 1410 WDOV in Delaware and on the iHeartRadio app. Submit your questions or ideas for future shows by sending an email to AskRalph@AskRalph.com.
The information contained in this episode of Ask Ralph is based on data available as of the date of its release. Saggio Accounting Plus and Ask Ralph Media Inc. is under no obligation to update this content if changes occur. Applying this information to your specific situation requires careful consideration of all facts and circumstances, and any information provided is not to be considered as financial, tax, or legal advice. Please consult your tax advisor or attorney before acting on any material covered.